great so far, but right now on the Miramar games, it hasn't looked too great. But at the same time, coming in back in here on Erangel, that's where their strongest map is, and I think it comes down to them having these kind of 4 drop locations on all 4 corners of the map. Make sure that they can basically play from anywhere on the map itself. They're not bound to play from southeast or from southwest, but they're so good on playing from anywhere and just adapting themselves to that. So it's unpredictable for the other teams what they're going to be doing and where they're going to be.
Yeah, teams like Sonic and Infantry as well have got themselves big wins on Erangel throughout the tournament so far here, Avenger. Are you looking at them to continue that kind of trend?
No, I think Virtus Pro, as Frost said, they'll do well. Like, they rounded off their ranked decision matches with a second and a first place with both 9 kills. I think we're going to see them do quite nicely here, honestly.
All right, time to get in. It is going to be Erangel. We are here for 3 matches today to find out who's going to be taking those juicy points. So far, so good for our teams that qualified late in the weekly survival, as they have been able to adapt and change things up nicely. Thank you to Intel for joining us here at the adventure of PGI.S. It's time to head over to Pansy and Thorin Oakenshield.
Thank you, James. And yes, we are heading on in. Any retort there, Hypoc?
No, I mean, I was just innocently cat jamming there through the break, and then just some shade thrown. Already on it.
That's it.
Yeah, not cool with that. A boring death segment is all I'll say. That's my retort to that, because I want to see the SDK face hot drop. So, Froz, Avenger, shut up. We'll wait and see.
Look, I'm there for it. I mean, look, logic doesn't always apply. 4am and DA proved that with those consistent drops, and sadly it looks like your dreams have been shattered.
I hate it when they're right as well. It makes me even more tilted.
Oh, I mean, look, the thing is, it's easy to be right by just being boring. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, well done, boys. You predicted that teams would play. Yeah, well done. They played a standard boring game. Well, you know, it must be hard.
What?
Regardless, ooh, Vardy. This is weird. Vard just shadow boxing his way around. Let's see the driving skills, Tiggleton. Oh
what?
no!
Oh, we got a good tag.
The one bump. The circle.
The circle?
We will come back to this. There's a lot of weird things happening. Oh, okay. We have road rage, I guess, going on here. Vard is having a real bad time.
But Wookiee's coming in with a gun.
Exactly. Wookiee's coming over, but so is Shrimsy. So now, here comes the awkward part, right? Here comes the fun bit. Do they back away? I believe they do. Vard, there is a UMP at range trying to kill you. Don't die to that. Yeah, I think Sonics go, yeah, it's not worth it. We're gonna leave. We're gonna disconnect from that. Now, let's talk about the circle then, because this seems to have kind of found its resolution. The circle seems to really like water, is what it looks like.
It would appear so, yes. I've only covered one Primorsk ending. I think the furthest southwest I played in a competitive game, and ended up on that shack kind of opposite the crossroads.
Yes. Yep.
Now I'm all for it, because the Primorsk ending I did cover, it was back in PCSEU. It was fantastic, but I don't know. Your mental's got to be in the bin after game 1 and 2, going to Los Leones, and then to end up in Primorsk. Which is what we want to see, right? That's what we want to see.
Yeah, I mean, so keep in mind, there's still the fields east of Quarry that used to be a super common ending. At least within Europe, it was constant. You still have the kind of western side of it. I'd say that was the tempo drop once upon a time, the mad coastal approach they used to love. Currently, we're kind of Na'vi are, I guess you could say. I've seen a couple of shacks have an ending out there. You've got the swamp in it. I think you've got God Compound in there too as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of area within this that's had a good couple of endings. But Primorsk is pretty... It's not unlikely. Quarry, of course, can have its endings. We've seen them as well. So, there's a lot of potential here. And not a lot of land... to play
The
with.
the other thing I was gonna say is the big consideration to make here is this is a circle you do not want to come late to. Again, rotating into those
Yes.
quarry circles. Once circle 3 posts up, it centers around quarry. There's just so few options. The compounds are so sparse. They're spread apart. There's nothing but open field separating them, right? So again, similar situation with the Los Leones circles on Miramar. This is one I want to see teams get themselves situated early on. Again, lots of space over on the west coast. A lot of teams actually opting to drop in the second half of the plane path, which is a problem. 3 teams down on Sosnovka as well. So eyes have to go towards that west bridge, whether or not it's a factor or not. Again, early on in the weekly finals, that could be a cheeky opportunity to pick up some free kill points.
It really could be. Now, there's 3 teams that will get the pick of the litter here, and I want to see where they go. Team Liquid, Infantry, and Na'Vi. Na'Vi probably is the best shout towards Quarry itself, or at least the kind of rap side of it. Liquid slightly further north of that into the East Infantry. I actually really like what Infantry have posted up for now. We'll check in on that in a moment as AA going to catch a glimpse of Triumph kind of diving on past. There will be a lot of kind of shots thrown out on this just because there's so many teams rotating in. Now, again, we'll see potentially some casualties out of the vehicles. Most horrific positioning would be probably K7 and a little bit of Virtus Pro there in a mad 2-2 split. I mean, you got Zaki and Novo, and neither of them have the circle, so that's a little brutal to work around.
Yeah, I thought that must have been some kind. Surely not. Surely that's some kind of observer bug, but no, it's actually not even a 4-corner strat. It's a 2-corner strat. So the rotation is going to be interesting to watch, put it that way. If they find 4 up and get to a compound, yeah, I guess screw logic, right?
Yeah. Fair play. At the moment, I'm looking at the next teams to probably join. You're going to have Furia and Gen G, as we're seeing, kind of heading from the north in, kind of past Swamp. Compound just kind of southeast of this, beyond the radar tower and what have you. You're going to have TSG kind of pulling up at some point. We saw them catching some shots from AAA, but none really like landing enough to kind of write home about. Sonics, I think, are on the move as well, and I'm waiting to see where they head towards, considering them and Liquid could potentially clash if they go for a very similar compound. Outside of that, though, Shoot to Kill are going to be moving into. This is going to be, okay, so we're going to look at the land grab here. So TSG went further south, Shoot to Kill are waiting down there by the ferry pier, and Sonics and Liquid are right on top of each other, but again, this is a shareable area. There is plenty of small compounds to still play with. Some of them less prime than others, though, so we'll see what they go for. Infantry on a bit of a split, too. They still have players on the south side of that road, so I'd almost want them to go towards 9 at this point and just kind of solidify that compound, but I understand the logic. FaZe on the move as well with the Freaka Freaks here.
Actually, crossing each other. Gustav actually going to pull up, but next to the tree, going to get the initial tag. Hikaru got to be careful here. Ansia actually going to find the opening to Gustav out of the vehicle, so FaZe got to be careful they don't take any more casualties here, or at least they got to make it worthwhile. Cad now. He's going to pull up, pop a flash out. Uber's down to about half HP. So, and there you go. Hikari actually going to follow up with a nade. So things just not looking good at all for FaZe right now.
No, and this is probably going to be, if anything, a lucky survival from 8C, just because he gets out, gets a vehicle, and leaves. Gustav's been having a nightmare so far. FaZe have come in cold, it looks like, today. They are not firing on all cylinders at all. This has been very mild overall. This has not been the phase that, garners attention. But yeah, Gustav's performance so far, I don't think he's barely been playing past like the 15-minute marker, 20-minute marker either. He's really been struggling on this one. Outside of that, though, the rest of the teams are going to start joining through, looking towards the likes of TSM, 4AM, K7, the teams that were further away at the start, of course, starting to make route in. Ice towards Virtus Pro, of course, they are the furthest out. Gems here just going to send some shots down range. Nothing really coming for it. A couple of tags here and there, not even costing much in the way of utility or anything to be invested. Gen G going to get the information on TSM approaching. That's going to be Wookie Bookie leading the pack here. They'll be able to find whatever they please. Could slot in on the western coast if they fancy, or try and head further south, maybe following along what Furia were trying to do. And there's Oath making their approach. A bit of a dangerous one. Keep in mind, infantry are well positioned.
Yeah, kind of running the gauntlet there. I'm surprised they haven't taken a knock on the way in, but how much space in front of them and how long that lasts is another question altogether. Pack Cap's actually hopping out there. I'm not sure that's a fuel problem or what, because it's not a great place to stop. Yeah.
Maybe running out of fuel. I'm trying to think of where Oath started to get to this point and run
On
out of fuel.
Millibase,
But
literally in Millibase.
yeah, I guess maybe that's pretty unfortunate if that's the case. But no matter which way you cut it, the Longwoods I like late game. I think they're really viable. I don't like it early game. It's too open to too many of these compounds and areas that are still super playable. There's 80 trying to make his last stand and try and just play survival if he can. Probably just try and center up somewhere, find a little compound, keep his head tucked down. You know, maybe live in the shadow of Na'Vi in hope of keeping him safe.
VP making progress, I guess. They got some people close to the circle. Spyro and Aruzan actually finding landfall over here. This is on the northwestern side of Sosnovka, actually. So coming to pick up his teammate, and here's the other half of them. Now, I'm intrigued. I am intrigued to see if there is an attempt to regroup and where it will be.
Circle's going to be a little bit of an issue. Actually, sends us up quite nicely towards Quarry. So Primorse becomes almost a super low % chance. And again, people questioning kind of why we're a little critical of FaZe throughout the entirety of this tournament. Not just today. They have not been the FaZe that we're used to. They have been hot dropped. To be fair, that has probably put them in a bit of a problem, and luckily we're on board with shoot to kill. But qualifying in that last chance, that last game to get to the weekend's games, and during those it was very hit and miss, very unpredictable, very up and down performances. As said, FaZe are not in their usual form for me yet. Now, whether or not it takes a little bit of pressure to make them turn up, who knows? But I think anyone who's been watching the entire tournament can definitely say it's not been a FaZe Sunday. So, anyway. Outside of that, we have to look at the rest of VP, still working forward. Of course, this is the southern portion of the weirdly mad 2-2 split. That's going to be... yeah, they're just going to be taking their time. I guess it's Batulins and Lu that I'm looking towards as finding a long way in. I guess the north's pretty sparse, so they can just slot in, but it's, as you said, these circles are not kind to late game edge play. This is one of those that really favors those who center up early.
Lose again, like you said, they got all the time in the world now to scout this out, so expect them to just leapfrog their way into this circle. Obviously, lots of obstacles down on the west side. Actually, I'm surprised nobody's really set up any sort of roadblock along the west side. A lot of teams actually favoring to come a bit closer towards Quarry. Again, the win condition for them is really carving a path in these first few circles and finding a compound they can hold on to. Furia got themselves compound directly south of God Compound, or southwest technically, I guess. And Na'Vi spread pretty far across Quarry. So this is always the problem for one of these Quarry teams, right? Is how easily they're able to kind of prevent any other teams coming into this, because you can't share Quarry. If you want to kind of garner any kill points from a game like this, you can't have another team pressuring you. And right now, Na'Vi kind of splitting 2 on the west side and 2 on the north is the right play, but it leaves that eastern side vulnerable.
I agree. I'd say the one thing with Quarry is you can be crept up on a little bit, and if the strain becomes too much, it gets really tricky to hold in a wider split. It is defendable, but as said, with the kind of tiered approach that you can see just on the kind of outskirts there of the lay of the land, you can creep up on that. Now, no team's going to do that right now. There is no value to it as it stands unless it's desperation plays. Nice. Batulins? Come on, bud.
No way. No way.
Jeez. Oh. There we go. All right, third time's a charm. He's underway. No worries. Yeah, Batulins is having a rough game. I mean, the drop was horrible overall, so he's not going to be having a good time coming into this. Just going to go through the bandies at this point. So, as it stands, again, I'm looking towards that center. Oath, I think they're in a somewhat okay position here. Not ideal. Na'Vi, of course, primed. I'd say Furia not too bad either if it goes towards the west. East is kind of dependent. I like Infantry's position still, I really do. Liquid sitting in a decent enough spot if they get some breathing room away from Sonics, who've been kind of hot on their heels a lot of these games.
Oh my god, it actually pulls pretty far back up to the north. So Liquid split looking fantastic. Again, the compound that Ibi and Clib are occupying, that's pretty much dead center now. And this is the reason this is such a good combat. If this does once again shift to the north, you get all of that space to kind of control the field, make your late play in. It gives you a really good foothold. But also, I mean, all of these fights that we know are going to happen on the hilltop that Mexi and Jeems have just left. Again, that's where the football comes out. SDK now making moves. They're going to have to pass Relo here at the... He's not actually going to take any shots here. Just, I guess, a nod on the way past, and SDK will continue on their way. Is that Uncivil playing with an ump? It's yeah. Okay. They did make a mad dash though, right? They dropped west side of Sosnofka and they rotated early. They're actually going to pull up here. Uncivil's an ump and a... Oh, okay.
He's playing the hard game. He's decided the lobby felt too easy, and he's going to go for the full-on hard game. TSG on the full-on pull-up as well. Do they commit? They are. Oh, that M249 is so primed for this. Just sprays away. So many bullets to spare. And 5.56 going to do well at this sort of range, just happily tearing into the opposition. But a couple of players made it towards on foot, so Ibby's now going to be a little bit careful. They are going to be playing on the outskirts here, and how long until other teams potentially can see Triumphant as well? That's what's in the back of my mind. Teams could be watching this if they do move into a better position, but Jeems is now in a little bit of trouble, but he's going to keep himself safe. Some good nades, and already you're going to see the next pull-up coming in, sending that car further forward. And Liquid looking for their option here, and it looks like Ibby's going to be at the forefront of that. Spots down, one sprays in, doesn't get the shot he wants. Double dip, triple dip, loses. Shan's going to find him. Big shot coming back with the enforable things, and a wild spray into the smoke for Jeems, but at the cost of Ibby's life.
Yeah, it's actually Sonics to have a good sight line down from the east here. They're obviously occupying, or Peng just getting pressured so heavily down there. Clip will actually find that knock, and will get the flush as well. But all this pressure coming in from Sonics as well makes it so difficult to play. And I mean, really, Liquid's opportunity was kind of past, really. As soon as Sonics here, obviously the audio cues, and they can look over here, it makes it so difficult for Liquid to leave their building and deal with that threat on the doorstep. Now, actually... the last man standing for Triumphant Song. I have to try and wait this one out, but 3 members of Liquid alive, they're not going to let him live. They're not going to coexist.
No. Looking at the quarry side as well, because I want to see what Furia do, because their position obviously got moved along. We still have, I don't know, there's a little bit of room to be had. I guess inventory are a little bit split in the south, so maybe they could move into that. There's a chance for it. AAA out here on the east as well, near a Freak of Freaks, kind of holding a slightly more centralized or further in position. Southeast move. And, well, okay, this is good positioning still for Liquid, even after that little bit of a scrap. 4 AM, quickly in the vehicles, heading over, nice and fast as well. But Shoot to Kill have held this area. They aren't ideally geared, but this is more than enough. A barrel sitting with a mini, that's pretty much primed and ready to go. The spray's pretty decent, but the return's even better. Blue is right there and going to continue forward forever. That is madness. 4 AM, pull up in style, Shoot to Kill. Dead and gone, at least the team that was towards the top end. Uncivil's going to have to push up with Purdy Curdy. He's got a UMP, so this is going to get horrible for him to try and make work.
Yeah, it's such a horrible push as well. If Gen G or Oath catch any vision on this, it's not good for Curtin Uncivil whatsoever. Well, I'm kind of solidifying a really strong position now. This is the sort of spot I was talking about. This now becomes a football for any teams that decide to try and get towards that hilltop. I'm not really sure of what SDK's next move should be, to be quite honest with you. But I don't like the fact they're going to occupy the low ground. Furia trying to get round on the south side of Quarry now. They've got Oath to worry about, and anybody over to the east side. You can see just on the mini-map a member of infantry coming over this way. But again, this is what I mean. These crosses in the open, the later you leave it, the harder it gets.
Moment. Gen G on the move. They're looking for their next spot. Coming on that western side. Already know the 4M's at the top of the hill. But outside of that, this is outside of the circle. Zanan's nade going to find Vard, and he wants to try and get the flush on that. The rest of TSM might have to leave old Vard behind. Oh, dear, that nade looked like it was going to flush him completely at that point, just right next to him. But he will bleed out, and TSM will have to make their move elsewhere, continuing clockwise around the circle. And actually heading pretty close towards Virtus Pro, who are just making their entryway towards a new circle.
A VP4 yet? That's the real question. Is TSM actually going to pull right up on the underside of 4 AM and in full view of Liquid as well? Because he's taking a lot of shots. Actually going to find... What? He found a second as well. Godby and Forever down for 4am. This is huge from Kurt. Actually, this brings an even fight between 4am and SDK if they decide to push that.
I feel like 4am, knowing how they play, will try and push this. They are not going to leave that unanswered, but how much do they commit to it? They've got problems everywhere now. Gen G's not too far away, but Gen G are dealing with their own fight against K7. And Loki's in the middle of the field. He's got a bit of a dip to work with, but it really ain't much. And yeah, as you can see, Loki is dead and gone. S is now pulled up in the vehicle, but a pretty open position. Going to try and depend on the car to keep cover. Good little underhand nade. Gets some good damage. He needs to come by his side. Esther get to work, but 4am from afar. Destroy the plan. Destroy the theory. That could have been 2 big kills coming in, but no. 4am making value out of very little.
Pio struggling to land any of those shots to finish off. I think that was Lockslock there. Look at this now. The situation to the south of this as well is what I want to see. Crazy actually still sending shots over elsewhere. He's got to worry about this threat from SDK, but Navi and Oath getting into it over on the edge of Quarry now. Casualties on both sides. Snakers actually loses that one for the tab, landing the headshots. Actually,
Nade.
from the grave, yeah. Snakers actually, his nade was perfect. They walked right on top of it, so Relo going to be able to reset and get both of these revives. But time not on their side.
Now, a name we haven't said too much for a very... backhanded. Swift little backhand. No work for you, PO. A name we haven't said in a while is Sonics. Now, they're finally getting pulled up on. Trimsy is here. We do have another player with him as well. He's not alone in this. But as you can see, Freaka Freaks are right on this compound. H-Win going to dive over here, try and provide some support. But Trimsy's burning, and he's in so much trouble. He needs to med up here. And if he doesn't get it off in time, he might be done for. Liquid, hold on for now. They wipe out K7. You've got players swarming your compound. Tiggleton, H-Win, they're all there, backing him up. Handsy, though, finds Mime, though. Just trying to play it on the kind of rooftops, trying to keep a bit of vision. They don't want to share this compound, but they might just have to. Forced in this scenario. Mime looks kind of dead here, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if they can pick him back up now. Shrimsy was considering it, but they've lost all vision on the outskirts. And look at EJ's off angle. That is massive from him.
Yeah, it was actually one of the members of Africa Freaks, I think, that got that flush there. I'm sure I didn't quite see it in the kill feed, but elsewhere, infantry now, just these scrappy fights. It's the hilltop I was talking about now. It's just a set of duos. Boliang actually going to fire first and the second there. Attack all around will fall, but SDK going to get some good information of exactly where infantry are situated now. I'm surprised, actually, SDK were able to bypass both 4am and Furia to get to this spot. And here you go, Uncivil will actually show his hand here. He's actually got a decent spray on, can't find the last bullet there. Longsker going to shut him down.
Yeah, red dot's all he needs on this one for Longsker, feeling alright, but Buddy Curdy's been wild. Kurt's been really going off so far. We saw those couple of kills come through, trying to merely stay alive at this point, but he's got problems aplenty. Infantry on his heels and his Fury are popping shots across. They just got the flush on Uncivil as well. So, again, kind of Buddy Curdy's going to have to just play this as best he can. You can see the smoke wall going up. EJ's getting a little aggy here, getting a little bit pushed forward. Freaka Freak's going to push this. Let's see if Sonics are aware of what's on the other side coming their way now. Hickory kind of keep a little bit of an angle on the window, ensure no one can peek back in, but they've got a nade and they're about to post this one through. Does Shrimsy survive? Yes, fine. He's okay still. Tiggleton still on his toes as well, trying to keep mobile. Hickory, though, is going for a look. That's where they got the knock on towards Mime, so this could be a really nice play from Hickory. Mollied it out to allow him to get this further forward. No shots in the back yet. This opens up an opportunity. He wants to keep them under wraps. No, Tiggleton! Big turn from him, keeping control of the compound. Hickory, that curiosity is going to get him killed. And now Freaka Freak's a little worse for wear. And maybe Sonic's try and exploit this issue, but there's a time limit on that. They're only got 3 players standing.
Yeah, I think actually just having a flick through the Sonics boys there, not an awful lot of utility in the form of mollies and nades to really stop this pressure from Africa Freaks right up against their building. Tiggleton taking a little peek out the upstairs. But nothing really left except for some smokes. EJ gets a decent angle through. Shrimsy going to take a lot of damage once again. I think actually, in terms of the war of attrition, it's Sonics losing the most in terms of equipment. Their armor getting battered, maybe some headshots getting traded out as well. The thing is, Africa Freaks have the numbers advantage here also.
They do. Clear. By the way, Liquid have been popping off quietly in the background. They're clearing out the compounds, they're holding onto it, but we want to keep on board with this fight, as it looks like they're going to try and meet in the smoke. H-Win's isolated one quick flush as well. Dips back into the other and keeps them guessing. Trade comes out. Tiggleton goes down. There is not without an answer, and sadly, for Sonics, They are a man down. They have lost out on another. And look at this. You can't see a thing.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
He
the
found both
spray
through the
from under the
smoke.
stairs. Straight up Harry Potter finally lashing out. He's been living under those stairs for years. And there he goes, just straight up murdering people. That's how Harry Potter goes, right? For now, though, we are down to 16, 14 players. The North somewhat controlled by Team Liquid. Living kind of amongst them is Wookie Bookie, so a bit of a European scenario up in the north. Towards the east, it looks like a Freak of Freaks are going to take over that compound, trying to get themselves back up. But Furia, they're sweeping down south towards infantry, and I don't know how much infantry are aware of this. Longskir's kind of paying attention to this way.
Indeed, the duo still standing, Longskirt and Boliang. Now we've got 3 members of Furia to deal with. Again, looks like they've got a really good read on the situation. They're looking right towards them, but just waiting for the right opportunity to peek out. Once one of these members isolates himself in the open. Longskirt taking a little bit of a pressure, so expect Boliang to try and pivot off that. Yeah, he gets a couple of tags, but Furia actually getting closer and closer, and this makes it doable for them, to be honest with you. Well, other than that, Boliang going to land a wealth of damage and actually not get the knock, but Rasputin will fall to the blue. Longskirt responds. Kill demo falls now. Rusty's there, the last man standing, and it's actually Kurt from distance that finds that one. So infantry will live on up to 7 kills now.
Okay, let's take into account this territory, the terrain that they're playing on. The south side's got a bit of a hill, but it's kind of open at this point. It rolls down, and the trees become sparse, so vision, as you can see, a Freak of Freaks Liquid, they're popping shots towards infantry. Kurt can actually live pretty well here. I mean, it's not ideal, but considering he's a snake, he can just tuck in. He's playing for that, I'll be the third person to the party, but you can already see that Liquid have a step out of their compound, and they're still within this circle. It's not prime, though. My eyes go towards what do a Freak of Freaks do with this, as well as obviously infantry, but I feel like infantry are just, it's target practice. Mexi is making it look so easy to do that. It's really not. That is a massive scoreline for Liquid here.
And they definitely needed a big game. Going to look to capitalize on this one. Afrika Freaks should push towards Kurt's building. Whether or not Boliang can actually shut it down, he's actually going to find the knock onto EJ. Lands follow up as well. No more damage coming through. And this really is crucial. Like we said, yes, Kurt can survive there, but Hansia and the rest of Afrika Freaks can get close enough. Looks like they're actually going to be able to reset and get this revive as well. James, he's looking for an off angle down onto this, trying to get a piece of the action himself. Boliang has to find a spot inside the circle here.
Kurt can make this so tricky for a Freak of Freaks. He's got that little wrap around that building. There's like a little bit of hard cover of the terrain that rolls in.
Yeah.
That keeps him safe from Liquid, so he can just focus on one side. And even with the smoke wall, James is still going to just pepper away, keep pouring in those shots as best he can for it. And the closer they get towards Kurt, the more dangerous he gets. He is the annoyance to them. Now, it's a problem for him because he wants to be that last person to the fight, right? But still, he'll take what he's given. If it's kills, and an MK14, nice and late, 3'd up. Delicious. Kurt, let's see what you got, bud. He's a dangerous man. He's had a dangerously good game, but not much to play with. 40 in the mag. Gear enough decent, 2'd out, not broken. And he knows that Freak of Freaks are here.
Oh my god, is he going to try and wrap? He's going to wrap behind them?
He's going to hear all these steps. Now, they could stay here technically. It depends how well they clear this. Let's see how meticulous they are. Oh, this is where I guess the danger is there. Oh, what the third party! Devastating! Devastating for Kurt. He could have really been the dagger in the back, but no. Infantry still holding on with that final player.
And Boliang up to 6 now. Anything else he gets is a bonus. I mean, anything in the last 3 or 4 minutes, to be honest, has been a bonus for infantry after they're down to the solo. Mexi posted up on the rock. He knows exactly where Boliang is positioned now. Circle actually going to pull away. Everybody has to move in this one, so this becomes a factor of time here. Who has to move the earliest? And they're going to have a couple of spots to play onto, a rock and a tree maybe, but Boliang, yeah, your time's up, buddy.
Yep. This is it. It's the countdown timer to who gets it. I mean, and the scary prospect is as well, you don't want tunnel vision on getting him and then run up on him by potentially the other team. It's essentially a 3v3 with a little bit of a sneaky player in the background. Mexi is such a danger man late game, though, coming in 3'd up with all this gear. I don't know about Liquid's utility usage, considering they got crashed. They've had plenty of problems throughout this. They might be a little light, but as are Afrika Freaks after that smoke wall just to get to this compound.
You see a little bit of a stalemate until this circle starts forcing some of these players out into the open. Boliang just absolutely posted, just not even moving. Doesn't want to move a muscle behind that tree.
He's making them work for their dinner. You don't get him for free. And this is going to kind of force the fight with Liquid a little. They're getting a little curious. SKS shots being pinged over from Jeems. Yeah, looking quite nice. 6 smokes on them. The difference of utility here is massive. Yeah. Liquid can play into the circle substantially more.
Boliang actually crossed it in. That's going to give him another 10 seconds or so to survive. And like you said, actually, Afrika Freaks, they're the ones that have to move earliest in this scenario. And Liquid could capitalize on that. I didn't get a glimpse there of Boliang, whether or not he had any more. No, he doesn't know. That's it. Just poked out, and Hansi is actually going to be the one to find it.
Let's have a look now. Already the Molotov's starting to be invested. Liquid trying to ensure that they can't run in certain ways. Just herd them around. There go those smokes. Mexi creating his own wall to play off of Clib, using the crate as a bit of cover. Jeems on the move, but Afrika Freaks taking the high ground. They're going to swing around. They better keep a track on this. No one's watching it. Using the old smoke wall that Liquid have put down to catch off Clib. Oh, this is huge from Afrika Freaks. They found one. We need a big answer from Liquid right about now, but they look lost for an answer. They're getting done by their own cover, and Hickory is the one doing it. Incredible play from Afrika Freaks. Liquid dropped the ball at the end.
Wow, Afrika Freaks were so posted on Boliang. I thought Liquid were going to be able to capitalize early enough to get some sort of control to stop that push. Stop that exact push. That was their only win condition there, was being able to close the distance. But, I mean, Afrika Freaks just put Liquid's smoke wall to their advantage. They literally bullied them behind their own smoke wall. Wow.
Oh, my word. I mean, okay, points-wise, with 11 kills in a second place, Liquid are probably still happy, but obviously within that moment with the adrenaline, you can see it. Not happy with this one. Probably a little frustrated with the ending. Clib, I loved his addition to Liquid. I think he's been one of the better additions, roster changes we've ever seen coming into a high-end team. But him getting caught there was unfortunate. It felt like he was kind of, moving around the rocks a little, kind of, stumbled a little and got capitalized on instantly. Well played to Afrika Freaks to find an option there, because they weren't presented with many. They could not have used smokes like Liquid were.
I mean, that was literally their only option to win, right? Was to capitalize on Liquid trying to, I guess, use that smoke wall to advance towards the center. But there's got to be a point, especially after the first knock comes through, where you commit to the fight. It felt like Liquid were just on the back foot there. As soon as the knock comes through, the other two kind of played to live, as opposed to really trying to trade that kill out.
Yeah, I felt like a little bit of a different gear. You're right. Afrika Freaks were ready to go for the kill. They weren't playing for that dance around the smoke late game. They wanted to finish it there and then. Liquid kind of got forced into the scenario after, as said, being a little caught off guard by that kind of aggression that came out from Afrika Freaks, who had no right to walk away like they did, but very well done to them. Again, enough from us. Let's head back to the desk to wrap up all of our thoughts and kind of bring us into those next couple of games.
Ooh, great start to Erangel here. Afrika Freaks get themselves another win on the board. And now some of the teams are going to have to be a little bit scared as to what they can do here in this form. I've got Avenger as well as Froz with me, and throwing Oaken Shield was a compliment, by the way. But anyway, yes, Afrika Freaks with this victory. Froz really playing out nicely towards the end as well.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think Liquid actually helped them with the smokes there, because you saw how close Liquid put the smokes to them. Afrika Freaks, they took the advantage of that. They just moved up super close.